Hello, welcome to the To Be Human podcast, episode 11 on should there be comedy about tragedies. So this came from, one of my previous podcasts where I posed, you know, this as, a sort of, philosophical, philosophical question. So now I want to, actually properly talk about it, I guess. And yeah, you know, uh, do it now. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. Should there be comedy about tragedies? In generally, goddamn it, I think, no. Um, because, like, even if time passes, it probably affected someone, you know, you know, and certainly there'll be, people that, will be sensitive about it, even if it didn't affect them, and it's just very odd, but, people can make their own choices, so, even if it's a, odd thing, you know, allow them to, you know, I guess live through it, even if it never affected them, and it might be, a bit bizarre that, they're like, you know, it was a really tragic event, yet had zero connections to it whatsoever. Like, especially like if you weren't even, in the country or, born from the country wherever the tragic event happens, and if you still get, you know, mad about it, it's beyond bizarre at that point. It's like, at least being from, wherever it happened, I guess kind of makes sense, because it happened in your place of living, so at least that makes a small bit of sense. But when you're that technically detached from it, then why are you worrying about it? Like, why are you worrying about it? It's odd, but let people live their choices in their lives. You know, let people live their lives. That's why I've always said. So yeah, so even if it's strange to me, just leave them be. But yeah, there shouldn't be a uh, comedy about tragedies in general. Um, but when would be an exception? I don't think there would be many, if any, like from you know, you know, you know, from an outside point of view, like it's just best to not have comedy about bad things. Like, no matter how funny or not, it's just bad practice. So yeah, but then when would it be? I guess funny. Uh, well, one, it would have had to been a really long time. Like, I'm talking at least, you know, 200 years, so that, you know, whatever happened was long gone. Like, you know, like, when did, when did the Titanic sink? Because I'm pretty certain that's a tragedy that there's been comedy about. Titanic. When did that sink? It sank in 1912, so it's been a, you know, good century since that's happened. 100 years. Um, Yet, it's always used as the punchline of whenever you have a sinking ship. So, yeah. I guess, it works just because it's famous and, you know, not everyone died on the Titanic and, you know, um, you know, yeah, in general, you know, you know, lot, not many people would probably be, directly related to the Titanic incident. So yeah, but in general, I say a general rule of thumb is make certain whatever tragedy it was happen a long time ago. I guess that's one of the few exceptions that may be able to fit under the 200-year rule, but I would say more than 200 years, just in case, because there could be like 100-year-old, you know, that remembers it, at this point, 112-year-old that'd be like, I remember the Titanic back then. Well, they'd probably have to be even older, technically, like probably like 5 years old, so they'd have to be 117, and like what's the oldest person in the world? Um, right. Currently 116 year old is the oldest uh person in the world. So they would have been like um you know like uh like 4 years old. So yeah, like I remember when I was a wee little child. That's I remember about the incident of the Titanic. My um I don't know aunt was on it and they died. So yeah, yeah, it's very rare. Like you know, in this hypothetical scenario, but I'm just saying 200 years is a generally good bet. You know, so yeah, um, so that no one's connected to it. Um, uh, any other exceptions for if there's going to be comedy about tragedy? Because one's definitely that has to be a really long time ago. Um, uh, two, I can't really think of the second one. Honestly, in general, it shouldn't technically happen at all. But if it's gonna happen, give, ample amount of time, because, you know, even with like certain recent like big events, like, you know, people are still, you know, you know, you know, mourning or whatever over certain events. So yeah, definitely give it a long, long time. Like, so yeah, 200 years at least. So yeah, you know, which, ain't great, but, it means that at least you have the least way of, you know, making anyone uncomfortable. So yeah. So sometimes I guess time is key, I guess. But in general, you should probably not be doing it all. Like I said before, but yeah, I want to go more in depth on it. But yeah, anything else I can say about it? I think that's generally it. Just, don't have comedy about tragedy. And yeah, it's just morally not great. And takes a lot of time and patience for it to actually, you know, not be technically a bad thing, even if it's still questionable at best if you've given it time, you know, for, the wounds to be long forgone to time. So, yeah, all wounds will heal in time, either because they were actually repaired or they were forgotten about. So, yeah, you know, old issues will, be, you know, long forgotten about, and eventually you'll start questioning, like, why are we enemies again? Like, why is it this way? Why is this like this? And then, all grudges, can't be held forever. You know, some people are, more stubborn than others, but yeah, some wounds will heal faster than others, you know, but eventually all wounds will heal, you know, whether it's by, choice or just the passive passage of time. So yeah, you know, didn't mean to, make a deep philosophical message about, the wounds of time, but I guess I did. Um, but yeah, I think that's all that needs to be said. Don't make comedy about tragedies, and yeah, you know, and yeah, but yeah, I think that'll be it for this podcast. And there will be a sort of pair podcast. I'll talk about, comedy in general for our podcast. Like what, makes comedy, I guess, good or not, which, it's subjective, but, uh, more of that will be, in the next podcast, which will be the Our podcast. So, yeah, you know, stay tuned, I guess, for, that. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Peace, thank you, and goodbye till next time.